how many Pretty Little Liar fans do we have in here? Yeah? Okay. So, I'm actually not a fan of the show, but I have watched it. I have 3 sisters, and they are all fanatics of the show, and so they will literally take the remote out of my hand and force me to watch it against my will. So, you know, whatever. We love them anyways, though. But how many of you guys know the theme song to Pretty Little Liars? Right? So you guys can probably say it with me. It's like, got a secret, can you keep it? Swear this one you'll save. Better lock it in your pocket, taking this one to the grave. If I show you, then I know you will keep what I said, 'cause 2 can keep a secret if one of them is dead. Alright, so 2 can keep a secret if one of them is dead. And so this entire show is actually all about secrets. They all have secrets. It's about a group of friends. They've got secrets from each other. They've got secrets from their boyfriends. They've got secrets from the police, secrets from their parents. Even their secrets have secrets. And they spend the entire show trying to cover up and hide their secrets while trying to figure out everybody else's secrets and expose everything else. And so they have this whole thing of, no, this is my secret, and I'm going to keep it a secret, and I will take it to the grave with me. Like, I'm going to die with nobody else knowing about this.
And that, like, never happened.
And with us, that's a lot like what we do. We each have this thing in our life, and for every person it's different, but we each have this thing in our life that we don't want anyone else to know about it. So we tuck it away, we hide it, we build up walls around it, and we don't want anyone else to know about it, right? Like, it's our secret, and we are going to the grave with it, and no one will ever know. Why? Because we're not going to tell them, right? And what we do with that is, like I said, we tuck it away, but what it does is it begins to fester, and it begins to just sit there. And our idea is if we tuck it far enough away, and if we hide it enough and put it in the darkest place of our life, then we don't have to deal with it, and no one else will ever have to deal with it either, right? And we do that out of fear. We're scared of what people will think. We're scared of what people will say. We're scared that there will be consequences for what we do. And as it sits there, it just begins to fester, and it just begins to grow and grow. And how many of you guys have ever left food in your fridge for a long period of time? Right? Like, it kind of gets back there in that back corner behind the milk. Or, yeah, and you just forget about it. Or, like, the drawers, they're the worst. Because you forget that it's back there, and then all of a sudden you open the drawer and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. This is so yummy. And then you pull it out, and it's changed colors, and it's squishy, and it smells, and it has mold growing on it. And so that's a lot of what happens with our secrets, and the things that we try to hide from other people, the things that we try to keep to ourselves and just push away, they just begin to sit there, and they begin to fester. And the longer they sit there, the nastier and the grosser they get. And so for me, for the longest time, I had a little secret of my own, and that was that I had a problem with pornography. And that wasn't something I was proud of. It started when I was 14, and I hid it. I hid it for years because I was a kids teacher. Like, I was involved in youth. I was that church kid who on every Sunday morning when they were in Sunday school, like, I knew the answers. I read my Bible every day. I loved Jesus. I even lifted my hands in worship. So, like, I was it. And everybody knew that I was it. And so for me to come out and express this problem that I was having and to express that this was an issue in my life was devastating. I couldn't handle it. I was so ashamed, and I was so scared of what other people would say. I was so scared of what my family would think, and I was so scared of the people in the church that they would judge me and that they wouldn't care about me, that they wouldn't respect me, and that they would no longer view me as a Christian. And so that was my big thing. And what it is it's actually just a cycle of we mess up. We do something wrong. We sin. It happens. And then we feel guilty, and we feel shame from it. Because none of us do things wrong intentionally, like we mess up knowing that it was wrong. We do it, and then we walk away going, oh my gosh, that was the most freeing experience ever. I love that. I am so happy. Let's do it again. Right? None of us do that. We feel the shame. We feel bad for what we did. And when we don't talk about it with other people, when we don't talk about it and just push it aside, what it does is it just allows us to sin again. And then because it happened again, we feel more guilt and we feel more shame, which causes it to go back to that. And so it's this reoccurring cycle that just continues to happen, and we just can't break free of it. And you sin more, so you feel guilty more. You feel more shame, so you hide it more away, and then you do it again, and you just feel worse and worse about yourself. But in the Bible, they give us a way out. They show us the way that we can break that cycle, we can get rid of the issue, and we can get rid of the smoldering, festering, nasty secrets in our lives. And it is found in James 5:16. It says, confess your sins to one another and pray for each other that you may be healed. Whoa, Austin. Hold up. I was all good when we were talking about like hiding it and pushing it aside and covering it up and it being a dark place so everybody knew. And you're telling me I need to talk about it? No, that's why it's called a secret. Like, we don't talk about secrets. That's why they're secrets, so nobody has to know about it. But that's not what the Bible told us to do. And so what this actually allows us to do when we step out, when we talk about the things that are going on in our lives, we're bringing light to those dark places. And we've all seen it happen. We all know it. It's physically impossible for light and darkness to coexist. It even says in the Bible, light and dark, they cannot coexist. And we see it every day. You guys walk into a dark room, and what do? You turn on the light, and what happens? The darkness goes away. Now, you turn off the light, and it's dark, and there's darkness. So where there is light, there is not darkness. Where there is darkness, there is not light. And so when we take these dark areas of our lives, we take the deepest, darkest secrets that we have, and we bring them to the light, it says that there's healing there. It says, confess your sins to one another and pray for each other that you may be healed. You're just like, no, Austin. Well, let me tell you about some people in the Bible who did this. They tried to hide. They tried not to talk about it. They tried to cover up their wrongdoings. And let's be honest, they messed up real bad. Like, catastrophic, end of the world kind of bad. And their names were Adam and Eve. And so in Genesis 3:20 through 21, 3:6 through 11, this is Eve. She's in the garden. They were told not to eat of a certain tree. They were given specific instructions not to do it. And this is her going through her little temptation with the devil. And so it says, so when the woman saw that the fruit was pleasant to the eyes and the tree desirable to make one wise, she took of its fruit and she ate. She also gave to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Then their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked. So here they are. They're in the garden. It's open. It's daylight, and she takes a bite of this fruit. She realizes that she is standing there, fully exposed, nothing hidden, just fully butt naked. Like everyone's worst nightmare when they have that nightmare of them getting up in front of people to speak, and then like they don't have clothes on. That was reality for her. And so she realizes that they were naked, and it goes on to say, they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves coverings. And then they heard the sound of the Lord walking around in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of God among the trees of the garden. And so they realize that they're naked, like, oh my God, oh my gosh. And they take these leaves and they start sewing them, like, we gotta cover ourselves up, we gotta cover ourselves up. And so they take these leaves, which probably aren't going to cover up a whole lot anyways. And so they're sewing them together, and then all of a sudden they just hear, he's coming! And they take off and they run and they hide behind the trees. They hide in the darkness of the woods. And they're like, maybe God won't see us. God won't see us naked, and he won't see us fully exposed, and we can hide from this. And it says that the Lord called to Adam. He said, where are you? And Adam comes out trying to cover up everything that he's got with his fig leaves that he sewed together in probably like 5 minutes, full of shame and full of guilt. And he stands before the Lord in all of his beauty and all of his glory. And he says, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. God says, who told you that you were naked? Did you eat from the tree which I commanded you not to eat from? And so what God did there was he called Adam out. He called Adam out of the darkness. He called him out from behind the trees and into the light of his presence and before his glory. And the Lord has done that with each and every one of you. And he wants to do that. To take you guys, to call you out from where you were at, to meet you, and to bring you to where he wants you to be. To bring you and to give you a new identity, and to restore your life, and to redeem you from those things. And for you to stand in his light and get rid of the darkness. And so with that, the first thing we have to do is we have to confess to the Lord. Because the Lord's the only one that can forgive sins. Everyone else, is one another, and as people, we can't forgive each other of sins. Only God can do that. But then, it doesn't stop there. He then goes on in verse 20 through 21. It says, and Adam called his wife's name Eve. So recently she was identified as woman. She didn't really have a name. She was just woman. And so now they change her name. They give her a whole new identity, and her name is Eve, because she was the mother of all that was living. But all of this was her fault. She messed up. She's the one who ate the apple and then said, here, babe, try some of this. It's yummy. And let's be honest, she screwed it up for the rest of us. She made life difficult for all of us. But she doesn't live with an identity and with a name that's associated with her sin. She doesn't live with a name that identifies her with her mistakes, but instead, she's the mother of all that is living. She's not the mother of all that's dead and wrong and evil. No, she's the mother of all that was living. And so just as Adam gave Eve a new name, the Lord wants to give each and every one of you guys a new name. He wants to change your identity to no longer be that person who is living in sin and has these secrets and has these things that they're trying to hide away, but that you can be free from that, and that you would step into the name of being a child of God, to be his sons and daughters. And he doesn't stop there either. He continues to go on, and it says, also for Adam and his wife, the Lord made tunics of skin and clothed them. So tunics are kind of like those little robes that they wore. So he took tunics and he made clothes for them. He said, here, give me your fig leaves, because those just aren't covering anything, let's be honest. And I'm going to give you new clothes. And the Lord does that for each and every one of us. He gives us new clothes. And these aren't clothes that are just meant to hide things or just be temporary. These are clothes that are good. They're clothes of righteousness, because we are called to be righteous and to live as righteous people. They are clothes that are holy, because God has made us holy just as he is holy. And so, with that, the Lord knows the things that are going on in your life. You can't hide from him. He knew that Adam was in the garden. And tonight, you guys are going to have the opportunity here in a few minutes to break into your small groups and to talk about what's going on in your life. Not only to talk about the message, but to talk about what's going on in your life. And I encourage you guys to not let this sit. Don't hide it forever. I hid mine for 6 years. And when I did, when I finally expressed what was going on, and I finally came out and said, hey, this was an issue, I was so scared. Because I had spent so much time building up these walls, and I wasn't going to let anyone close enough to find out. And I had hidden it as far back as I could, and I was so scared of what would happen. So scared of the judgment that would happen, that I didn't want to do it. And when I finally did, I was sitting there, I was shaking and so nervous, and I had tears coming out of my eyes. But what I didn't find was judgment. I found love. And the guys that I confessed it to became really great friends of mine, because they knew the deepest, darkest parts of my life. They practiced transparency, and in that, I experienced freedom and liberation of that I don't have to live in the guilt of what I've done, because I know, number one, that God has forgiven me, and number two, that I have people in my life who know that, who are there with me, that they're praying for me, and that through that, there is healing in my life for that. And so tonight, you have phenomenal leaders that are here. They genuinely love you guys. I don't know if you guys realize that or not, but they genuinely love you guys, and they pray for you throughout the week. They really do. They honestly pray for you guys, and they want nothing but what's best for you. And that's why we do what we do. We don't do it just because we're bored and old and don't have anything to do on a Wednesday night, but because we want to meet you guys where you're at. We want to hook arms with you and walk through this season of life to show you who Christ is and to watch God move miraculously in you. And so tonight, like, if you've got something that you need to talk about, pull your small group leader aside and just talk with them about it. You know, and then if your small group leader is busy or talking to someone else, get their number and give them a call later tonight. Okay? And if you don't, like, okay, well, I have this friend, talk to your friend. Invest in those relationships with the people who are in your life. Talk to those godly people and confess what's going on. Just say, hey, I'm having a hard time with this. And let them be there with you to, again, hook arms with you to walk through this season and through the trials of life. Because, as we all talked about earlier, friends are good to have. And having people in your life who are there for you, who can help you through these things, is vital to your growth and vital to experiencing who God is.